Welcome everyone. I think we should start. So before we read the opening aspiration, let's take a moment to ingather and bring the mind home. Would anyone want to read the opening aspiration?
I'll read it. With boundless compassion and wisdom, I will work for the welfare of all. May we be free from hunger and discord and have joy and a world at peace.
Yeah, thank you. So I think we were on verse 8 last time where we left. Yeah, this page. And the verse 8 is this one. The Buddha taught that the unendurable suffering of the lower realms is the fruit of unvirtuous actions. Therefore, to never act unvirtuously, even at the cost of one's life, is the practice of a Bodhisattva. Actually, reading this, I'm remembering something Nandini had shared recently on Heaven and Hell by Sri Aurobindo. So it resonates somehow, I feel, with what was shared, that the unendurable suffering of the lower realms is the fruit of unvirtuous actions. So it's a different matter that we may think that yes, there are some other realms also, but right now, if we look at our own self, we will find that when we are not mindful and swept away by all the thoughts that swarm us all the time, and we start to believe in every thought that comes to us. That's what we do most of the time. And if we are not mindful, then as if it's like a castle is formed and it's like an empty bubble, but we begin to believe in it, that whatever the story is cooking in your head, we begin to believe in it, and we actually begin to suffer. So that can be called unvirtuous. I'm just relating it with our day to day, how we live. But there may be other realms which I personally have no idea where they're talking of this unendurable suffering. It may be, of course, there.
You got it.
Yeah. And the last paragraph there where we left, that was also very interesting, because today only I heard something which was very it just gave me like a, one can say, shiver. And I, after those two lines, I did not hear it at all, that thing, because those two lines were just enough. I'll share with all of us what were those two lines. And here, we stopped at this particular paragraph. Sometimes, as a result of responding positively to difficult circumstances, no, not this one. Just a second. No, yeah, this one. Yeah. During all the good times, although they are nice, one tends to free float and not make much effort to change. So we all have seen that whenever we are relatively pain free, we don't have much suffering in life, we slack, and our practice is not as exponential as it can be. That everything is just like okay, and who cares to change oneself from within? Who cares to find psychic being? We don't care because we have sukh relatively, right? So during all the good times, although they are nice, one tends to free float and not make much effort to change. It is often harder to take the good times onto the path than the bad times. So this is where the catch is. सुख में सुमिरन ना किया, this is where सुख में सुमिरन ना किया, दुख में करते याद, कहे कबीर तादास की कौन सुने फरियाद. तो हमारे साथ ये मैंने देखा है, आई रियली feel it so practically that in relatively okay times where I have not much pain and suffering is not there, we slacken in our practice. Intensity नहीं रहती practice की. We are not mindful, we are unattentive, and we fall a prey to those thoughts that we are thinking all the time, and we begin to believe in them because mindfulness is not going on, and whoosh, something comes and we are just swept away by that swarm of story that has been building up. So that's why practices of mindfulness are very, very helpful, not only in bad times. Of course, they help us to uplift us from the bad times, but also if we can continue the good times, in the good times, we can continue some mindfulness practice where we are continuously detaching from our thoughts. And that was what was shared in the message that Nandini had shared from Thoughts and Aphorisms. That we create our own hell because we make thoughts very solid. We are thinking and we begin to believe in what we are thinking, and then it just goes on and on and on and on. And Buddhism mostly, or mindfulness practice also, is about not to believe in the thoughts, rather to take stance as the consciousness that is looking at the thoughts. So this one, it is often harder to take the good times onto the path than the bad times. Therefore, even the higher celestial realms are considered to be a spiritual dead end, simply because there is no challenge. When everything is already so nice, why bother to strive? So at this, I didn't know that today we are going to read this thing, but somehow it connected. So that thing that I heard, so I thought we'll just listen to it. And I think most of us are well versed with Hindi. It's something in Hindi. It's not exactly what I heard, that I am not able to find as yet, but it talks about how when we are in sukh, relatively good times, we, as if we fall into a kind of a behoshi. We are not really attentive, alert. And while when pain comes, it wakes us up that something has to be done. We have to work on our own self and imperfections. So pain is like, it makes us more alert, and sukh makes us behosh. And I totally resonated with that, because I've seen that happening with myself so many times, that if pain is not there, suffering is not there, you just slacken your practice, and after some time again you have episodes which are very, very dark, because there is hardly any discipline. So this is what I thought we can maybe hear shortly.
उस स्वाद को, उस टेस्ट को हम रिपीट करना चाहते हैं, भौतिक स्तर पर भी, आध्यात्मिक स्तर पर भी. भौतिक स्तर पर जो टेस्ट एक बार ले लिया वो फिर पीछा नहीं छोड़ता है. एक व्यक्ति मेरे से पूछ रहा था, जो चीज़ें हमने पीछे लगा ली या जो चीज़ें चिपक गई हमारे, जो सुख, जो भोग, जिन चीज़ों को हमने एक बार अपने अनुभव में ले लिया है, उनसे कैसे पीछा छुड़ाएं। वो तो ऐसे चिपक गई हैं कि कितना भी उपाय करते हैं वो मन से हटती नहीं है। तो मैंने कहा कि जब आपको भगवान की कृपा से बहुत सारा दुख मिलेगा, थोड़ा दुख मिला है अभी, तो बहुत सारा दुख मिलेगा भगवान की कृपा से, और फिर आपकी आंखें खुलेंगी और उस दुख को देख करके जब आपको होश आएगा, बेहोशी टूटेगी और आपको ऐसा समझ में आएगा कि इस दुख के क्या कारण है, कैसे ये दुख मेरे जीवन में एंटर कर रहा है, तो शायद फिर आपको उससे ऊपर उठने के लिए जिज्ञासा हो, शायद उसके लिए फिर आप कोशिश करें, प्रयास करें। सुख और दुख का जो कॉन्सेप्ट है, हमारे को सुख तो मूर्छित करता है। सुख,
No, I think this is it. Exactly this sentence that सुख जो है वो हमें मूर्छित करता है और जो पेन है वो हमें जगाता है. So this is what I was trying to find.
सुख हमें मोह में डालता है। सुख हमारे को इस जीवन से, जागतिक जो जीवन है, इसकी मस्ती में हमें आसक्त कर देता है। जागतिक जीवन में हमें बेहोश बना देता है। और जो दुख आता है वो हमारे लिए, वो हमारी मूर्छा को तोड़ता है, वो हमारे लिए एक वरदान सिद्ध हो जाता है और हमारे को वो प्रेरणा देता है कि अपने इस यंत्र को ठीक करो, अपने सिस्टम को ठीक करो। जैसे प्राकृतिक चिकित्सा वाले कहते हैं कि ये जो बीमारी आती है ना, ये तो हमारे लिए बहुत बड़ी अच्छे चिन्ह होते हैं, सिग्नल होते हैं, वो हमारे संदेश देती हैं कि कहीं कुछ डिफेक्ट हो गया है, उसको ठीक करो। तो इसी तरह से ये जो समय समय पर दुख आते हैं, ये दुख हमारे लिए वरदान के रूप में होते हैं। ये हमारे को संदेश देते हैं कि कुछ अपने सिस्टम में कुछ गड़बड़ है, उसको ठीक करो। वो कारण की तरफ बढ़ने के लिए हमें संदेश देते हैं। मैं कह रहा कि हमारे मन में इतनी ज़्यादा अशुद्धि है, हमारा मन इतना गहराई से उस अशुद्धि की जो परत होती हैं वो हमारे चित्त और मन के ऊपर इतनी ज़्यादा चढ़ गई हैं कि दुख का प्रभाव ही नहीं होकर के देता। मानी एक के बाद एक दुख आता है और दुख का प्रभाव, मानी दुख को हम ऐसी चीज नहीं समझते कि मैं अब संसार में दुखी होकर के नहीं जीऊंगा, ऐसा निर्णय नहीं ले पाते, ऐसा हमारी बुद्धि देख नहीं पाती है। हमारा ज्ञान हमारे को इस रूप में मदद नहीं कर पाता है कि मैं सदा सदा के लिए दुख से अलविदा हो रहा हूं, दुख को आखिरी प्रणाम कर रहा हूं। ऐसा निर्णय नहीं ले पाती हमारी बुद्धि। क्यों नहीं ले पाती? इसलिए कि दुख का प्रभाव ही नहीं है हमारे मन के ऊपर, सुख का प्रभाव है। इसलिए सुख में खूब मस्त रहते हैं, सुख को बार बार चाहते हैं। सुख चाहने की चीज है, दुख हटने की चीज है। तो दुख आते आते भी हम हटते क्यों नहीं है? सुख चाहने की चीज है, सुख का हमारे ऊपर प्रभाव है। सुख बार बार आता है, हमारे को फिर उसके लिए तैयार करता है। जिन चीजों से हमें सुख मिला, जिन संबंधों से सुख मिला, जिस व्यक्ति से सुख मिला, जिस वस्तु से सुख मिला, उसको बार बार हम अपने साथ रखना चाहते हैं। तो सुख तो हमारे को, सुख का हमारे दिल के ऊपर, हमारे मन के ऊपर कितना गहरा प्रभाव है कि हम बार बार जुड़ते हैं उन चीज़ों से। हमारे ज्ञान ने, हमारी बुद्धि ने जिन चीज़ों में हमें सुख दिखाया, वहाँ हम बार बार जुड़ना चाहते हैं। पर हमारी बुद्धि ने जिन चीज़ों में दुख दिखाया या दुख देखा, उनसे सदा के लिए नहीं हटना चाहते। किसी शराबी व्यक्ति को शराब पीते हुए देखते हैं और वो आपके सामने यदि होता है तो आप कहते हो कि कितना मूर्ख है, इसमें इसको क्या मिल रहा है, क्यों ये ऐसा कर रहा है। और वो स्वयं भी कहता है कि ये व्यर्थ की चीज़ है, मैं अब कल से नहीं पीऊँगा। वो प्रातःकाल जब वो उठता है नींद से, तो सारा शरीर टूटा हुआ पाता है, पैसे उसके वेस्ट हो जाते हैं, बच्चे उसके करहा रहे हैं, और वो इस दृश्य से उसका दिल जो है थोड़ा नरम होता है और कहता है कि मैं नहीं पीऊँगा, और सायंकाल तक वो फिर जो है उसके लिए तैयार हो जाता है। और ये उस शराबी की घटना नहीं है, ये सारे मनुष्य जीवन की व्याख्या है। मनुष्य भी तो यही कर रहा है। जिन दुखों से वो त्रस्त होता है, जिन दुखों से वो महसूस करता है कि गुस्से से बहुत ही
सो आई थिंक ये शराबी की जो बात कर रहे थे, सो दिस इज अस, कि हम दूर से किसी शराबी को देख रहे हैं तो उस पे देख के तो बड़े हमें लगेगी कि हाउ कैन समबडी डू दैट, कि जब पता है आपको कि शराब से आप परेशान होते हो, बॉडी खराब हो जाती है, दिमाग खराब हो जाता है, व्हाई वुड यू डू इट अगेन? Looking at third person we can say that, but actually when I was hearing this, it just felt that this is just about myself only. That we are that sharabi, कि वो चढ़ा ली आपने, बिल्कुल सत्यानाश, एक दो दिन आपके हो गए और फिर वो आप भूल जाते हो और आप फिर से चढ़ा लेते हो, so as if ki, and then he later on shares, and I was wondering actually that why do we fall and we don't learn from our lessons? Is it ignorance? I was just talking to myself, and later on he goes on like this and he says this is because of agyanata. This is what ignorance is, that you don't learn from your lessons and you're just like as if a blank slate again and repeating forever the similar mistakes again and again. And what he was sharing also, the part where जिसका सुख का प्रभाव हम हमारे ऊपर ज्यादा होता है, लेकिन दुख वाला जो है, and an example is just if somebody, I lose somebody, a loved one, or attend a funeral, for example, you will have seen that if you have attended any funeral of your loved ones or close people, those few days we are very intense, like we are as if very reflective and very intense. But very soon, that thing that came to us through that experience of seeing death so close, it just fades away. वो इंटेंसिटी एज इफ हमको बार बार याद करनी पड़ती है कि अच्छा, लेट मी हैव दैट, कि उसने मुझे क्या दिया था उस एक्सपीरियंस ने, क्योंकि वो स्लोली 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 वो आपका इंटेंसिटी जो एक्सपीरियंस की है, वो फेड अवे हो जाती है। और क्यों फेड अवे हो जाती है? दैट्स व्हाट ही वाज शेयरिंग, दैट हमारे चित्त और मन के ऊपर एज इफ पर्दे चढ़े हुए हैं, अशुद्धि, impurities. And one of the ways of calling these impurities is moh. We get attached and everything appears so glittery. ये भी बहुत अच्छा है, वो भी बहुत अच्छा, अच्छा ये भी चाहिए, वो भी चाहिए, and in that it just clouds, the mind just gets clouded, and then things which should not be done get done and we end up in pain. That's a different matter, that through pain also we progress only, so we are kept safe. But this thing that in another talk he shares that एक बुद्धा और हमारे में यही डिफरेंस है कि बुद्धा को एक बार अगर पेन हुआ तो उसने बोला कि ये आ कहां से रहा है, मुझे इसकी रूट तक जाना है, मुझे नहीं चाहिए, मुझे नहीं चाहिए। और हम क्या करते हैं, हम व्हाट ही वाज शेयरिंग कि हमारे ऊपर एज इफ कि उसका लाइक जैसे पत्थर होता है ना, मतलब उसको क्या दर्द ही नहीं हो रहा, जबकि ऐसा नहीं है कि जब दुख में हो आपको दर्द नहीं हो रहा, जब दुख में हो बहुत दर्द हो रहा है, बट उसकी कोई मेमोरी ही नहीं है, सो वो फिर से रिपीट हो रहा है, वो फिर से रिपीट हो रहा है, वो फिर से रिपीट हो रहा है। और जो कि बुद्धा एक बार उसने पेन सह लिया तो अब उसको बस पेन नहीं चाहिए और उसको रूट पे जाना है, सो एज इफ वी आर नॉट, मे बी we don't love ourselves enough that we end up repeating the similar painful instances again and again. And the simplest possible that I can recount here for myself is that we begin to believe in our thoughts. That's where the whole process starts of pain and suffering. एक विचार, और जब वो विचार आता है तब वो ऐसा नहीं लगता कि ये विचार है, दैट्स द खेल ऑफ माया। तब वो लगता है कि ये तो बहुत जरूरी है अटेंड करना, इसको नहीं अटेंड किया तो क्या हो जाएगा, समथिंग लाइक दैट। इट डजंट अपीयर लाइक थॉट, और वो ले डूब गया, मतलब ऐसा लगता है बहुत जरूरी है, बहुत जरूरी है, इसके बारे में तो सोचना ही सोचना है, बाकी थॉट्स ठीक है मैं नेग्लेक्ट कर सकती हूँ, बट इसको नहीं, इसको नहीं। एंड दिस इज वेयर our attachment is, our clinging is, These are the areas where we are clinging, and that thought appears very very important, and it just takes us away. एक thought पकड़ी, उसके बाद 15 और 20 और 100 और आपके कुछ घंटे, दिन, months, at times years निकल गए. So if only we can, I feel that we can remind ourselves to continue practice even when the days are good, relatively relaxed, pain is not there, to continuously detach from thoughts and station ourselves as the witness, and not to believe in these thoughts. Keep bringing the mind back to the breath in the body, wherever we are, whatever we are doing, rather than engaging too much in the storylines of past and future anxieties, insecurities, and I see that I propel it. When I'm not mindful, I am propelling it, I am giving it fuel. Sri Aurobindo uses the word that when we realize more and more the witness stance, we realize that I don't have to give sanction. I can withdraw the sanction. है ना, कि मुझे नहीं बिलीव करना ये जो क्रिएट हो रहा है माइंड में. You have taken, withdrawn the sanction. That can also be done. But for that, one has to be mindful. And where we slip again and again, at least I do. So, yes. So I thought this was very resonating with what we were reading. That during the good times, as if we are murchit, behosh, we free float. And it's often harder than to practice in good times than bad times. Yeah. So anything here before we read the next? Okay, so if anyone wants to read, maybe we can read two paragraphs, one smaller one and the bigger one also. Or maybe the third one also. So three paragraphs at once.
Yeah, I can read it. Therefore, when the text talks here about good karma and bad karma, we have to understand this is meant in a conventional sense. Nonetheless, when difficulties come, especially sickness and poverty, and the many problems that appear in our lives, they are the result of negative actions that were performed in this life or former lives. Now, those seeds have come up, so we need to respond skillfully and take this on the path. Then that negative karma transforms into positive karma. I had a friend who was an Australian nun, quite young, and she had breast cancer, of which she subsequently died. She said that one time she was sitting feeling very sorry for herself, thinking, why did this happen to me? She had led a healthy life and eaten all the right foods, had all the right thoughts. So why was this happening? Then she said she had a kind of waking vision in which she was male and felt she was a crusader wearing a white tunic with a big red cross, and she was standing over the body of a prostrated soldier, the enemy, and pointing a big sword at his heart. He was begging for his life. He knew she knew she had a choice. She could forgive him or she could kill him. Then she thrust the sword straight down into his heart. She came back into everyday consciousness and felt her question was answered. Now, whether or not it was so, the fact is that through the ages, there are thousands or even millions of people who have killed other people, and animals. From a karmic point of view, we have to accept the consequences of those actions. The important thing is not to worry about what is going to happen to us, but to create inner strength to deal with whatever does happen. We will be able to take it on the path with us. Something that outwardly looks negative can inwardly be exactly what we need as a real help and aid to our practice. Thank you.
Yeah, anything here? The first paragraph, the last few lines are also, I feel, very, very practically relevant. Now those seeds have come up, so we need to respond skillfully and take this on the path. Then that negative karma transforms into positive karma. So this reminds me of surma. When Kabirji talks of a surma, or warrior, in other words. So he says the आपका चिथड़ा चिथड़ा आप बैटर फील्ड में आपका टूट रहा है, लेकिन फिर भी आप मैदान छोड़ के भाग नहीं रहे. He says this is my surma. So when challenges are there, painful situations are there, difficult situations are there, I think if we are even a little bit learning from those situations, that okay, where are our imperfections and where do we have to work, then somehow we can't say, oh God, you are so cruel. We can't say that even in the middle of very sad situation, because somehow there would be a knowing that I needed this experience so that I can transcend some of my limitations, which one would know. So हो रहा है जो हो रहा है, rather than saying कि मेरे साथ क्यों हो रहा है ये सब, मैंने क्या पाप किए थे, ये बोलने के बजाय अगर हम उससे लर्न कर लें, responding skillfully and taking it on the path, I think that is why the book is called The Heroic Heart. क्योंकि उसमें बहुत courage चाहिए. The ego gets humiliated again and again, but you are shamelessly rising up every time because there is no choice. You know that this has to happen, and mother says that infinite number of times you will fall and infinite number of times you have to rise. Infinite. That's why she talks of perseverance. नहीं तो perseverance चाहिए ही क्यों? अगर छोटा काम है तो perseverance क्यों चाहिए? तो मोटे मोटे काम है और सबके लिए है, कोई एक जना नहीं है जिसके लिए मोटा काम है. एंड डिफिकल्ट काम है. डिफिकल्ट इसलिए बिकॉज मोस्टली आई एम आइडेंटिफाइड एज द ईगो. और जब पढ़ती है खूब लाइफ में, तो एक्चुअली, and if we are actually moving towards truth, taking all those lessons on our path, we see that we have to go through those humiliations and insults and rejections and just exist like a nobody, like you don't bother whether you have any respect left or not. What you bother is you are moving towards truth. That is what is important. उसके लिए shameless होना बहुत जरूरी है, लज्जाहीन. क्योंकि अगर शर्माते रहेंगे तो फिर इसका मतलब ईगो की जकड़ है. और आसपास वाले लोग बोल भी सकते हैं कि भैया बड़ी मेडिटेशन करते हो, कितना गिरोगे कितना गिरोगे, है ना, ये कोई तरीका है मेडिटेशन कर. बट यू डोंट take it seriously because you know that this is the path. It's like nothing. That comment can be just totally like a makhi, can be on the side. It is not required at all. Knowing that we will fall umpteen number of times and knowing that we will have to get up, dust our pants, be shameless and walk on the path again. तो ईगो जो है वो ये करने नहीं देती, क्योंकि ईगो को लगता है कि मेरी सेल्फ रिस्पेक्ट ही नहीं है क्या कोई. तो यहाँ पे बिल्कुल लज्जाहीन होना पड़ता है, बिल्कुल शर्म, कोई नाम की जगह ही नहीं है शर्म की यहाँ पे. And that is why we can also, when I am on the path, we are on the path, then we can also resonate with other people on the path, because when they make mistakes, they're also not big deals. I have made mistakes, I have learned from my mistakes. अगर किसी और ने so called sin कर दिया, पाप कर दिया, तो वो भी सीखेगा, उसकी भी जर्नी है. तो हम फिर दूसरों को हम जजमेंटल नजरों से नहीं देख सकते अगर हम खुद पे काम कर रहे हैं. बुरा जो देखन मैं चला, बुरा न मिलिया कोई, जो मन खोजा अपना, मुझसे बुरा ना कोई. So if we are able to realize that, then compassion comes naturally. We don't have to do it, cultivate it. It just comes. You just know that everyone is together in this boat. So the negative karma transforms into positive karma. When we take everything on the path, pain, challenge, sins, mistakes, our mistakes are, errors are his steps on the way, and through our stumbling the world is perfected. तो फिर भी कुछ भी बुरा नहीं लगता है, you don't mind things. And mother also says that whatever you find shocking in the other, be sure that it is present in you. और अगर हम देखना शुरू करते हैं तो एक्चुअली में वो दिखता है, और फिर एक्चुअली अंदर से मुंह बंद हो जाता है, क्योंकि अब कुछ बोलने के लिए रहा नहीं. क्या बोलोगे आप, किसको क्या डिस्कशन करोगे, तेरा बिहेवियर कैसा है, मेरा. खुद में जब दिख रहा है वो होते हुए, तो फिर compassion is there, empathy is there. So this is, I found it very, very good, that what we need to do right now is that whatever I am going through, can I respond skillfully to whatever challenge is there, pain is there, whatever mistakes one thinks one has committed, weaknesses are there, that can be taken on the path, and उसको बस correct it, again course correction कर देना. Knowing that we may fall again, because that knowing is very important, because it keeps us grounded. ये ऐसा नहीं है कि पार लग गए, पता है कि जमीन पे ही हैं और फिर गिरेंगे तो फिर देख लेंगे, something like that, फिर कुछ पता लग जाएगा. अच्छा. And that is why in integral yoga also Sri Aurobindo says that the going up and down is a very long movement. So you go up, you get some light, and then you plunge into your own darknesses, because those darknesses have to be transformed. तो सिर्फ ऊपर जाके लाइट में बैठ नहीं जाना है, वो नीचे वाला डंजियन भी साफ करना है. और वो टाइम टू टाइम वो डंजियन कुछ ना कुछ सीड्स देगा, दे विल कम अप, लाइक हियर नाउ दो सीड्स हैव कम अप. एंड वो इसलिए आएंगे क्योंकि उसकी सफाई होनी है. तो अच्छा है कि आ गए, इसी जन्म में पता लग गया कि क्या क्या चेंज करने लायक है. So anything on the first para, or wherever on the second, wherever.
I was just for a very long time, I've always felt that, like as you said, resonating with you, that when there's good time, the practice, you just start reveling so much in the good time that the practice actually takes the back seat. But I think one of the things that I think I read somewhere and it's really worked out a little bit is that how we can use gratitude even if there is good time. The practice of gratitude can really help you connect it to her or to anybody, any divine form you resonate with, or your own inner Buddhahood. Because just like just saying even thank you like 100 times to her in the day, if you just remember it, I think it really helps. And also, this I think there was this beautiful meditation by Thich Nhat Hanh where there's a meditation on impermanence where you realize, where you actually sit down and meditate that anything beautiful or good that you have today will not be there tomorrow. So you actually visualize it, whether it's a relationship that you're happy in, or your body or your work, anything that you think, oh, this is it, I'm so happy with it, I'm so grateful about it. You just cultivate that space in you who knows that this is not going to be there tomorrow. So really visualizing it and, imagining that, okay, I'm standing here and this is not there tomorrow. And how would you cope with it? And it actually brings a lot of shiver in your body because you're not ready for it right now because you're so much engrossed in it. And I remember I had I felt I'm having a nervous breakdown when I actually did that practice. So very beautiful about that practice. And the other thing was, it might be a little bit different, but that's what came into my mind was that how she got an answer through her dream when she had this question you know that Australian nun, and it's actually a beautiful practice suggested by the mother as well. How can we use dreams as a way of opening to our subconscious mind and really knowing because consciously saying, oh, I'm so good, I'm progressing and this and that, but it is only through dreams that you really can actually get a deep like a deep vision in yourself. And I remember she was sharing that when she was in Japan, a very long practice that she did was that when she used to have a dream, as soon as she got up, she always had a pen and paper. She used to write those dreams down. But for a very long time, it did not make sense. But after all, it actually started making sense, and she could actually deepen her yogic practice through dreams, through dream work. So that was also something I've not done it. I just really fascinated when she said it, and hopefully I'll do because I do dream a lot. So, but yeah, and this was again resonance of how you can actually get answers from dreams if you're conscious. These two things came to my mind.
Hanji, I think Jagan, you wanted to say something.
Yeah, namaskar. Ma'am, please correct me if this question is wrong. If we can open the passage, please. It says about the example about that Australian nun who passed away due to breast cancer. Um, from what I've known is that the soul, you know, travels between different lives, but the body is different, right? The host is different in every life. So um, the question is, if there is an if this person committed a sin in the previous life, and the effects are coming in this life, and in her current life, then isn't it is it fair? Because if I am preparing for an exam, I'm giving my effort, like she's saying, eating healthy, living healthy, good thoughts. I'm preparing every day, doing every day. But the teacher from my previous class, he thinks that isko to main fail hi karunga. If I know that he is going to fail me ultimately, then is it still possible for a regular being to still practice, to still progress? Because that progress will be a non-transactional progress for the sake of progress not because you'll get something. So
I think ये fair और not fair का तो हिसाब किताब है ही नहीं, क्योंकि अगर आप फेयर और नॉट फेयर देखोगे तो आप देखोगे कि बहुत इनजस्टिस हो रहा है कि इतने अच्छे इंसान के साथ इतना बुरा, इसने क्या पाप किया था जो इसको कैंसर हो गया है ना. So that there is nothing called fair or unfair. And why we talk about fair and unfair? Because we have no knowledge of our previous karmas and lives. And I'm not saying that a person who has cancer in this life, it's a wrong idea that इसको अगर कैंसर हो रहा है या इसको कोई ऐसी लाइफ थ्रेटनिंग इलनेस हो रही है तो कोई पाप किए होंगे जो हो रही है. दिस इज नॉट द राइट आइडिया. Sri Aurobindo does not approve of this. He says that the soul comes for various experiences, and if a person has been a king in his previous life, he now chooses, for example, to diversify experiences. He now chooses to be a beggar. अब तुम बेगर को रोड पे देख रहे हो, तुम कह रहे हो कि ओ पुअर फेलो, व्हाट पाप और वॉट एवर ही हैड डन दैट ही इज हेयर, so that is not true, because that's not how the things are happening. तो इसलिए जैसे मदर कहती है ना कि इफ यू वांट टू बिकम वाइज रीच योर बिंदु तो जब इनको पढ़ते हैं तो पता लगता है कि एक्चुअली में बात वो नहीं है जो हम सोचते रहते हैं अपने छोटे दिमाग से ना. souls, we all of us have chosen our experiences. कोई भी इस समय जिस भी कंडीशन में है, think of your own individual present conditions and tell yourself that I myself I have chosen this condition for my own progress. Take full onus of your condition on yourself fully, and you will see that the attitude will change. कि कोई मेरे को इसमें घसीट नहीं रहा जहां पे मैं हूं. I am creating it for myself because I want to learn a few lessons and there are experiences to be have. तो जब हम पूरी रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी अपने ऊपर ले लेते हैं ना, दूसरों को या सिर्कमस्टांसेस को हम जिम्मा देना बंद कर देते हैं, फेयर और अनफेयर की बात भूल जाते हैं, तो हमारे में पावर आती है और उस पावर से वी कैन लर्न एंड प्रोग्रेस मच फास्टर देन व्हेन आवर फोकस इज ऑन अदर पीपल. ओ आई एम एंग्री और फ्रस्ट्रेटेड बिकॉज ऑफ हिम. सो आप अगर वो बाकी हिम और हर और सारी सिचुएशंस को निकाल दो और सिर्फ अपने पे ध्यान ले आओ दैट आई एम द किंग, आई एम द, actually we are God in one sense. We are creating, we are manifesting our lives, but we have no knowledge of it because we are ignorant. Right now there is not realization of who I truly am. तो फिर ये अनफेयर और फेयर बिल्कुल वाइप अवे हो जाता है. क्लियरली दिखने लग जाता है कि क्यों हूं मैं इस सिचुएशन में, क्योंकि मुझे डिटैच होना है. क्यों अटैचमेंट मुझे तंग कर रही है, क्यों इतना दुख दे रही हूँ, दर्द दे रही है अटैचमेंट, क्योंकि द फंक्शन ऑफ लाइफ इज टू ग्रो इन कॉन्शियसनेस विच इज गेट डिटैच्ड स्लोली. तो दर्द होगा, दुख होगा. तो जैसे ही मैं अपने ऊपर रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी ले लेती हूँ ना, फिर एक्चुअली में सेकेंड बाई प्रोडक्ट इज कि दर्द भी कम होता है. दर्द तब हो रहा होता है जब आप रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी किसी और के ऊपर डाल रहे होते हो कि नहीं, वो उस बंदे ने ठीक नहीं किया, हाउ कुड ही डू दैट, शी डू दैट, है ना. So there is no relation of diseases. There may be, of course, partly on some level, some karma varma would be there. I'm not saying that that is not there. Sure, Bindo, you can read, and you can see. But the thing is that it is not कि किसी ने पाप किए हैं जो उसके साथ उसको जॉब नहीं मिल रही. अब भैया जॉब नहीं मिल रही वो मेरा क्राइटेरिया है सक्सेस का. गॉड का क्राइटेरिया नहीं है कि तुम जाओ जॉब करो दुनिया में जाके. गॉड का क्राइटेरिया है ग्रो इन कॉन्शियसनेस. If I am growing in consciousness, with job, without job, with marriage, without divorce, all is allowed. Nothing is fair, nothing is unfair. है ना. तो Sri Aurobindo says that God does not see things as we see. कि जो हमारे लिए सक्सेस है कि भैया IIT एंट्रेंस में हो गया तो भगवान मेरे साथ हैं, और अगर नहीं हुआ तो भगवान मेरे साथ नहीं है. हम ऐसे देखते हैं, है ना. तो वैसे नहीं है एक्चुअली. दैट इज नॉट द वे हाउ द डिवाइन लुक्स एट इट. So it is very nice to read Sri Aurobindo, what he talks about birth and rebirth and incarnations. Yeah, it's very enlightening.
And I would like to add, because I'd read the same thing in the book as well, that, how your soul chooses the experiences for the next life. While it chooses the situation and it comes back into rebirth, you still have choices to make in life. The soul still can choose in that particular life to do a good act or a bad act. So you can't put that to say that, okay, this is what was destiny. We all have equal rights, or we all are given the opportunity to make that right decision for ourselves in every birth. So whether you're born poor or rich, you have the power in you to lead a good life, the correct life, the right life, to make the right decisions in spite of your situations. So I think that responsibility is still on you, and you cannot put it down to destiny or fate or, I was poor, so I did this, I was rich, so I did this. So it has nothing to do with your situation and your fate.
This a very good, like I think I got the best clarity from Shir Bindu on karma and the chain of karma, because for me, like what Jagan shared, also I had a lot of confusion about this. You know how, because in I think in Buddhism, in Jainism, it's taken to a on a very high pedestal. Karma, if you really see karma, and you have to, then there is a result, and then you can change it, you change it and all of that. Still a circle. I always felt it's very cyclical. So how do I come out of it if I'm always stuck in it? So I think Shobindu, such beautiful. I can share the talk as well where I heard is that what he says is that what is karma? What is chain of karma? Your action and result, and it's not only yours. It's for every living being that's there. So you see, it's become like a cosmic chain. And why is it happening? The chain, that circle or that tornado, I think that's the word was used, is happening to fulfill the divine vision at large. That is how it's operating. So if you are identified and if you're inside that, you can change it. Like even in passage, oh, there's the negative karma, you make more positive karma, and then there will be this. And so it's still cyclical. But if you want to come out of it, you have to align yourself to the supreme. So you are not inside of it, but you're outside. So you are completely aligned to that divine will, which is outside of that chain of karma. And then the example was given was in like example of Savitri. So beautiful. That Satyava, that was actually the cyclical game of karma that Satyava had to die, because that was the karma. But because Savitri realized the divine within herself, and realized to the divine will, and decided that that there is not going to be positive, negative karma. I need to go outside and completely make a new world, which is beyond death and birth. She could actually change it, because and then the beautiful line that was shared: king, prayer, a king, a master act. There's a line Savitri, and the miracle becomes a common road. I think that I thought was so beautiful, because actually takes you out from the karma, positive and negative, because you're not inside now. But for that, again, you work, you have to realize it's so difficult. But I really love that, like whole idea of Shobindu, which is very new. I've not read it anywhere.
Yeah. चेतना, आप कुछ कह रहे थे? I think you had unmuted.
Yeah, so I had a question regarding this. So once we accept that we have to
आपकी
this
आवाज क्रैक
situation,
हो रही है, थोड़ा
maybe at the
चेंज करो
soul level.
लोकेशन.
Okay.
हाँ.
Yeah.
हाँ.
So I was saying, once we have accepted, we accept that we take responsibility that we have chosen this situation at the soul level to maybe learn some lessons. So now, how do we decide what to do? Like, how do we decide that that we can move out of this situation, or do we accept the situation? I mean, yeah, okay, I understand. As I'm asking, I'm also receiving an understanding that once we accept the situation that I have chosen this, then maybe I can have the strength and the power to change it again also, right? I understand the lesson, and then I can change, I can decide to move on, is it?
I think देखो, अगर physical illness है, for example, let's take an example that I am in a very chronic life threatening illness. तो अगर उस समय मैं एक्सेप्ट कर लूं कि ओके, लेट मी सी व्हाट बेस्ट एटीट्यूड आई कैन टेक, एंड कैन आई फाइंड नाउ द डिवाइन विद इन, क्योंकि जब एटलीस्ट आई कैन रिमेंबर दैट व्हेन कैंसर हिट मी, दैट वाज द फर्स्ट अर्थ दैट वेयर इज द डिवाइन विद इन, आई हैव टू गो टुवर्ड्स. I may not have found, but that is at least you start walking towards, है ना, walking towards, तो वो लाइट थोड़ी थोड़ी मिलने लग जाती है आपको. तो ऐसा नहीं है कि आपका कैंसर हट गया, या हो सकता है हट भी जाए, तो उसका आप ये नहीं कह सकते कि उसका बिल्कुल मटीरियल इफेक्ट आपको इमीडिएटली दिखना शुरू हो जाएगा. दैट इज नॉट ट्रू. दैट कैन बी ट्रू फॉर मेनी पीपल, बट इट मे नॉट बी ट्रू फॉर मेनी अदर्स. बट द थिंग इज कि अब चाहे कैंसर है चाहे कैंसर नहीं है, it has stopped to now bother you that much as it was bothering in the beginning, and you continue with your life in a positive way, and there are so many things to be still grateful for, and life can still go on, है ना. तो जरूरी नहीं है. अब जैसे श्री अरबिंदो की बात करते हैं तो अलीपुर जेल में है ना. Now at that moment of time, in the beginning he doesn't know whether he is going to be out or not, और क्या होने वाला है अभी कुछ नहीं पता, uncertainty है ना. But he shifted the attitude, he used it totally for his yogic discipline, the kind of a cave like thing that he got, and found, had darshan of Krishna. So आपने क्या किया, आपने डंजियन लाइक सिचुएशन को आपने इतना सुंदर बना दिया अपने लिए कि अब चाहे बाहर निकलो या नहीं निकलो, दैट इज सेकेंडरी. क्योंकि अंदर आपको वो मिल गया जो तड़प के परे है ना. तो अब तड़प नहीं रहे हो आप. अब दैट इज सेकेंडरी, वेदर आई गेट रिलीव्ड फुली फ्रॉम द फिजिकल इलनेस और नॉट. नाउ दैट इज नॉट बॉदरिंग, क्योंकि हमको वो सबसे ज्यादा ये बॉदर कर रहा होता है कि ये मेरे साथ क्यों हो रहा है, ये मेरे साथ क्यों हो रहा है, नहीं होना चाहिए, है ना. आई शुड बी हेल्दी अगेन. अब आप हेल्थ अनहेल्थ से ऊपर उठ गए, है ना. तो वो शिफ्ट इन एटीट्यूड जब होता है तो फिर जो हेल्थ आती भी है अगर वापस, दैट इज सेकेंडरी. इट्स लाइक आपको बाई प्रोडक्ट मिला उसका एक, है ना, अच्छा काम करने का, अपने ऊपर काम करने का. हाँ. और अगर नहीं भी मिला तो वो आपको तंग नहीं कर रहा एटलीस्ट जितना पहले कर रहा था.
I'm understanding, and I'm just rephrasing what I've understood. Is that one is the basically it's a shift in consciousness that you are talking about, and it is in 2 points. One is accepting the situation, or acceptance. Accepting the situation, which goes with that my soul has chosen this to learn the lesson. This is the first step.
नहीं, आप देखो,
Second
हर
step
बंदा
is
सोल,
understanding the lesson.
हर बंदा सोल की बात नहीं कर सकता, है ना. तो बड़ी प्रैक्टिकली हम ये भी बोल सकते हैं कि अच्छा फैक्चुअली अब ये सिचुएशन है, उसको बंदे को कोई लिंक नहीं है डिवाइन से, सोल से, बट वो ये कह रहा है कि अच्छा राइट नाउ दिस इज व्हाट इज देयर इन फ्रंट ऑफ मी, लेट मी सी व्हाट इज द बेस्ट पॉसिबल वे आई कैन टेक, है ना. वन मे नॉट यूज द वर्ड सोल एट ऑल.
मेरे को actually, like, I'm just kind of connecting, my inner quest and what we read today and the question, because I mean, like, for me it is clear that this much is clear, that my soul has chosen this situation to learn a lesson. This to me is clear. The only thing I keep oscillating between is that, okay, so that is the first point, acceptance. The second point is understanding the lesson. Like, for you, I understand that you really went deep and you understood the lesson, which is of self love, connecting to the psychic, and really working on your spiritual growth. After the illness happened, I don't really went deep, and you understood the lesson, and then you worked on it. So for me, I get oscillate between, have I understood the lesson? Yeah, so first step is accepting, and second is understanding the lesson, basically. And so I mean, to me, that is the important thing, that have I understood the lesson. And the third thing keeps arising in me is also that कहीं मैं अपनी लेजीनेस से तो नहीं स्टक हो रही हूँ इस सिचुएशन में. I mean, just because I don't feel I have the strength to move, or those things, and I'm using it to victimize myself, and like staying in the thing and saying that life has put me there, basically, and
अच्छा,
like, truly the difference, and or like, am I truly accepting the situation and doing what the divine wants me to do, or am I like just staying in it out of my own laziness and then putting it on the divine, that the divine has put me here,
Got it.
and then not moving and not doing anything when the divine may be giving me as many pushes as possible.
Bilkul. Yeah. I think, yeah. So what you are sharing is that if right now I am in a very difficult situation, somehow I have this understanding that I have chosen it for myself. I have accepted that, okay, this is how it is. And how am I sure that I am doing the best possible that I am supposed to do? Right? How can I be sure? Because it can be also just laziness to accept the situation as it is and to maybe do nothing about it. So you can actually be sure that it is laziness. एक्सेप्टिंग द सिचुएशन का मतलब ये नहीं होता है कि हम उसके ऊपर काम करना बंद कर दें और बोले कि भैया देखो भगवान ने तो मेरे जिम्मे यही रखा या मैंने अपने लिए यही चूज किया, अब मेरे को तो ये क्या कहते हैं उसको, हम आपको ढोना है जैसे, है ना, कि मान लो इफ यू गॉट अ स्पाउस which does not resonate with you at all, or a family which is just totally not resonating with you. So you tell yourself that, okay, this is what I have created, the spouse, family, or whatever, the person who is not resonating with you. Now I have to just live with that person or live with that family. That is not true. That is not the way we have to take these things on the path. है ना? And that is where comes the importance of deeply finding that psychic connect. उसके बिना काम नहीं चलेगा. And when we talk about finding the psychic connect, it is an active thing that is going on. आप बस निठल्ले होके बैठे नहीं हो कि अच्छा जो है वो है, अब चाहे जैसी भी सिचुएशन है, जैसे भी लोग हैं, मैं तो बस यही हूँ. Of course you can run away, because you choose now that, oh, okay, this is what I have created, and now maybe something within you tells that this is my test, that how much I am convinced that I have to just find a life of my own and not just keep blaming other people for my situation. So it should actually, there should be an alive, active aspiration within, an activity in your life, physical activity, and of course, doing something about your life rather than just accepting the situation as it is or your health as it is, thinking that, okay, I have created, because there you will not be learning any lessons. वो काफी एक पैसिव स्टेट है कि अच्छा सब तो ऐसे ही रहना है, तो क्या कुछ करने की जरूरत ही क्या है, तो मैंने ही तो चूज किया अपने लिए. That is not an active attitude. That's not what we mean here. So that is laziness, what you were sharing. That will be laziness and tamas.
Yes, thank you
Yes.
for clarifying, because
Yes.
I often get stuck in this point only, because okay, fine, like first I have accepted that at soul level I chose it because I had to learn a lesson, but maybe that lesson is to follow my path, like I am, yeah, I mean,
देखो सबसे
but
छोटा
then
लेसन है ना, छोटी छोटी बातें अगर हम करें, हम बड़े लेसन्स के भी भूल जाओ बात. आपके सामने कोई एक इंसान है जो आपको दिन रात कुछ ऐसा बोलता है जो आपके साथ बिल्कुल रेजोनेट नहीं करता और वो आपकी पीस डिस्टर्ब करता है, राइट? आपका पहला प्राइमरी प्रथम लेसन क्या है मेरा यहाँ पे? वो ये है, क्या मैं इस सिचुएशन में रहते हुए टोटली इग्नोर कर सकती हूँ उन ट्रिगर्स को? That is my first lesson. That is what Sri Aurobindo did when he was in Alipur jail. The conditions that were there in Alipur jail, the things that you're eating in the same thing, you're defecating in the, similar bartan utensils. And he just chose all of that to be totally beyond all of that, so that it doesn't matter that much. So first lesson मेरा difficult condition में ये है, that can I find a place of peace and joy within the chaos that I am in right now. First responsibility is that. और second responsibility क्या है? From that state of peace and sanity which I have gathered within now by ignoring whatever doesn't give me peace. You are ignoring all that, right? And when you are ignoring, you are actually not saying that, oh, वो है तो सही but मैंने उसको भी suppress किया हुआ है. नहीं. You are learning that these are all just my own सी बाहर से आपको पिन चुभोया, अंदर आपने उसके बारे में इतनी लंबी स्टोरी बना दी कि इसने मुझे ऐसा बोला होगा, इसने मुझे वैसा बोला होगा, इसने बोला होगा 10 साल पहले ये हुआ था, 5, ये आपने करना बंद कर दिया। अच्छा पिन चुभोया, ओके मलहम लगा लेते हैं, है ना। वो स्टोरीज आपने क्रिएट करनी बंद कर दी सो दैट यू कैन बी पीसफुल। अब क्या होता है, जो आगे के कदम आपने बढ़ाने हैं उस सिचुएशन में, आपने उस कंडीशन से बाहर निकलना है या अपने लिए जॉब ढूंढना है, कुछ भी करना है, जस्ट इन इमेजिनरी कंडीशन, वो आएंगे आपकी अंदर की पीस एंड सैनिटी वाली स्पेस से। नाउ इट कैन नॉट बी अ पैसिव सरेंडर कि बट एक्सेप्ट कर लिया सिचुएशंस को, है ना। हर बंदे को एक मिशन है। मदर श्री अरबिंदो क्या कहते हैं, हर बंदे का लाइफ में एक मिशन है। सिर्फ योगी और साधक का मिशन नहीं है, हर बंदे का मिशन है। ईच ऑर्डिनरी फेलो हैज अ मिशन। वो कब फाइंड करेंगे, जब अपने लिए हम रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी लेंगे कि आई वॉन्ट टू डू समथिंग ब्यूटिफुल विद दिस लाइफ दैट आई हैव बीन गिवन। और मोस्टली आपने देखा होगा कि ये जो छुटपुट 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 ये आसपास हमारे लगे रहते हैं, जो हमारा इतना ड्रेन करती है एनर्जी, उसमें उसकी वजह से हम एक्चुअली में जो चीजें हैं जिनको हमें मोस्ट इंपॉर्टेंस देनी है, हमको उनको नहीं दे पाते। तो ये पहला काम हमारा ये है, टू इन द मिडल ऑफ chaos कैन आई फाइंड अ स्पेस ऑफ पीस एंड सैनिटी विद इन माई सेल्फ। दैट्स माई फर्स्ट रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी। लेसन की बात कर रहे थे ना आप। हाँ, कि देखो बाहर इतनी सुंदर हारमोनी है तो कोई भी पीसफुल ले ले, लेकिन कुरुक्षेत्र है, बैटल फील्ड है, सब आप पे लांछन लगाने के लिए तैयार है, और तब भी आप पीसफुल हो, ये आपकी प्रोग्रेस है। और अब उस पीस की जोन से, अंदर जो पीस की जोन बनी है, जो आपने फाइंड किया अपने लिए, वहां से आपका अगला कदम आना चाहिए कि मुझे अब आगे क्या करना है। हमेशा आगे की तरफ। मदर के साथ हम ये देखेंगे, शी वॉज ऑलवेज ऑलवेज थिंकिंग ऑफ व्हाट्स कमिंग, व्हाट इज टू नाउ कम अहेड। फॉर एग्जाम्पल, अ प्ले हुआ कोई आश्रम स्कूल में, सम प्ले इज हैपनिंग, अभी वो प्ले की रिहर्सल्स ही चल रही हैं, और मदर क्या बात कर रही है कि अच्छा नेक्स्ट इन द नेक्स्ट ब्रेक और वट एवर, वट इज द प्ले दैट वी आर चूजिंग। अभी वो शुरू भी, अभी तो रिहर्सल्स ही शुरू नहीं हुई। सो ऑलवेज फॉरवर्ड, ऑलवेज फॉरवर्ड, कि ये तो आप कर ही रहे हैं ऑफ कोर्स, लेकिन इसके आगे अब आपने क्या करना, इसके आगे क्या करना है। तो इफ वी कैन हैव दैट स्टांस, देन वी कैन एक्चुअली स्टे फॉर एवर यंग इन अवर स्पिरिट, है ना। अभी का पीछे को पीछे भूलते गए, भूतकाल को भूत ही रहने दिया पीछे की तरफ, उससे अपने जो जो लर्निंग्स है वो लेते रहे, और हमेशा आगे की तरफ। क्योंकि हमारे साथ प्रॉब्लम क्या होती है, हम बार बार पीछे देखने लग जाते हैं। तभी हम कहते हैं ना, भूत, अगर भूत को पीछे मुड़ के मत देखो नहीं तो चिपक जाएगा। यही तो होता है, हम बार बार भूतकाल को पीछे मुड़ के देखते हैं, वो चिपकता रहता है। हमने करना क्या है, अभी प्रेजेंट सिचुएशन देखनी है, उसमें हमने वी हैव टू फाइंड अ प्लेस ऑफ पीस एंड सैनिटी, एंड देन ऑलवेज लुक फॉरवर्ड, ऑलवेज लुक फॉरवर्ड। तब आप, देन यू कैन बी श्योर, जो आप कह रहे थे ना कि ये लेजीनेस तो नहीं है, देन यू कैन बी एक्चुअली श्योर, समथिंग इन बी यू विल टेल यू दैट इट इज नॉट लेजीनेस। और अगर डाउट आ रहा है, इसका मतलब लेजीनेस होगी कहीं ना कहीं।
यस, थैंक यू। और एक मेरे को वो भी अभी आपकी बात से समझ में आया कि एक तरफ लेजीनेस है इनएक्शन की, एक तरफ एक्शन आल्सो, एक्शन कैन आल्सो बी आउट ऑफ एस्केप. So that true clarity will come only out of what you're saying, that peace inside. Because if inaction can be out of laziness, action can also be out of escape.
नहीं, at times
so
escape
that
is
again,
necessary.
if that is done from that consciousness.
At times escape is necessary. अब देखो, मैं आपको एग्जाम्पल देती हूँ, एक लाइव एग्जाम्पल देती हूँ। Someone in the ashram community, है ना, he his mother and father were just fighting all the time. All the time they were fighting. So what he decided at a very young and tender age, that he will just run away from home and follow somebody who he emulated like an idol, कि ये मेरा चाचा जी हैं या चाची जी हैं, जो भी है, ये अच्छा काम कर रहे हैं, मुझे इनके साथ जाना है. So one can say, one way of saying it, कि he escaped, he made an escape from what जो उसको मिला था, जैसे कर्मों में, whatever. But actually, it's a very wise decision that he was able to make something very nice out of his life and offer himself to several others while he would have just been trapped in those two people. And so at times escape is very important. तो वही है कि अब देखो क्या चीज बताएगी, क्या मेरे लिए उस सिचुएशन में जरूरी है, इसी के लिए हमको डीपर जाना अपने बहुत जरूरी है, क्योंकि आंसर वहीं से आएगा कि मेरे लिए क्या सही है. कोई नहीं बता सकता कि आपके लिए क्या सही है. लोग आपको सजेशंस दे सकते हैं, बट हु विल चूज विच वन is resonating with me is you. So that's why mother says psychic being, psychic being, है ना? Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah. And psychic being का इतना भी मतलब we use the word quite often and मन में say that यार वो तो बहुत लंबी बात है, पता नहीं कब मिलेगा psychic being, क्या होता है हमें नहीं पता. But the very fact is that all of us, if we have an urge towards light, an urge towards more progress and peace, that is a psychic opening. कि आप अब सफरिंग बर्दाश्त करने के लिए तैयार नहीं हो, अब आपको यू वांट टू लर्न, यू वांट टू ग्रो, यू वांट टू प्रोग्रेस, है ना? कोई भी चैलेंज आया उससे अच्छा इससे मुझे क्या मिल रहा है, मुझे देखने दो. दैट इज द साइकिक कॉन्शियसनेस. तो हम सब में वो ओपन है, बट फुल फ्लावरिंग में टाइम लगता है. दैट द साइकिक बीइंग इज द किंग, दैट टेक्स टाइम. But psychic opening each one of us must have. Otherwise, we will not be listening and reading to all these things. Something is already awakened, but it has to go grow and fully take charge of the being rather than confusion and doubts. So, okay, Australian nun, we have touched upon maybe rebirth karma. Those of us who are interested, they must read Sri Aurobindo. I think that's the best. And yeah, I think this is also beautiful. We'll just read it again and then maybe we can end. The important thing is not to worry about what is going to happen to us, but to create inner strength to deal with whatever does happen. कि जो भी होगा देखा जाएगा, देख लेंगे. अच्छा, मैक्सिमम पॉसिबल वर्ड्स क्या हो सकता है? अच्छा, देख लेंगे, आने दो. We will be able to take it on the path with us. Something that outwardly looks negative can inwardly be exactly what we need as a real help and aid to our practice. And this is what actually Sri Aurobindo uses. This maybe we'll read the next time, that it is like going to a gymnasium. So when we go to a gym, we are exercising our muscles and we are giving ourselves heavier weights than we can carry. So if I'm able to carry 10, I will give myself a challenge of 11 or 12 so that I can, strengthen my muscles. 2 किलो के weight से मेरा कुछ नहीं होगा. So the more and more we get ready in our life, challenges appear in such a way that it works like gymnasium. We strengthen our muscles. All of us are strengthening our muscles, heart muscles, brain muscles, mind muscles. We are increasing in our endurance of pain, able to take more of it and more stillness, more peace, all that slowly. It works like a gymnasium. This Sri Aurobindo uses the word in Savitri, that how Purusha uses Prakriti's experiences, all these happenings of life, as his gymnasium. And that is why how slowly he fully comes forward. So that's what all of us are doing. So any last comments, anyone? Okay, so in that case, just taking half a moment to share and dedicate the merit that we may have collected with all the sentient beings. May everyone has peace and joy in their heart and lots of progress in their lives. Thank you.